my name is Kristen. I am the AOD and Race Counselor here at Gwynedd Mercy University. A little background about me: I have my master's in counseling psychology, and I was asked to do a couple videos for you. The first one I'm going to be doing is about body image. Okay, so the first video I'm going to be presenting to you is about body image, which I termed positive reflections, because hopefully after this you will have a more positive perspective about your body. So first off, what is body image? A good definition of what body image is the picture we hold of ourselves in our mind's eye, as well as our beliefs about how others perceive us. So not just about how you feel about yourself, but also how you feel others think you look. So some important stats to start off. 4 out of every 5 10-year-olds are afraid of being fat. 80% of American women are dissatisfied with their appearance. And Americans spend over $40 billion on dieting and diet-related products each year. So these statistics, and these are just a few of the many that are out there, should give you an idea about how much appearance means to us in our culture here in America. So what are influences on body image? First, and one most important, are messages we receive from family and friends concerning your appearance, food, and beauty. Second would be biology, so how your body's made up, but also your resiliency to be able to combat negative messages that have to do with your body. And third, it has to do with the media. Probably the most well known is the media, because of all the negative messages we're told about image from the media. So we are inundated all the time from media images that tell us how we're supposed to look and what the ideal beauty is. And I put a picture of a female and a male because I don't want to leave out males entirely, because we both are encouraged to look a certain way. So important statistic: 20 years ago the average fashion model weighed 8% less than the average woman. Today she weighs 23% less. So as the years pass, fashion models are getting thinner and thinner, and the differences between an average woman and a fashion model are getting greater and greater. On the man's side, rather than it being the thin ideal, which is what we as women are encouraged to look like, for men it's more about muscle and tone. So being very muscular, like you see on the side with the men's fitness. So beauty to an average American woman, we're told, is the thin ideal. So being extremely thin, and as you saw from previous stats, much thinner than the average woman. So when we're bombarded with all these messages related to dieting, beauty, and this thin ideal, it becomes really difficult not to internalize these messages. And what I mean by that is that we then feel the pressure to look a certain way, even if it's completely unrealistic to look that way. And even worse, we're made to feel really badly about how we look as a woman. Media manipulation. There is a video here that I won't be able to show you today, but I encourage you to look up on YouTube, called The Evolution of Beauty, which essentially has someone who comes in for a photo shoot, and they no makeup, no hair done, and it goes through a very fast process of her essentially getting done up for this photo. Then after the photo is taken, it shows you the process that editors do to alter the photos to make it look exactly how they want to look. The image on the screen is a pictorial version of this. So you see on the left-hand side, this is the original picture. Right-hand side is the altered. And you can see the list of all the things that they changed to make the woman look how they want her to look. So even this woman that's in the magazine really doesn't look this way in real life. They alter her to look how they want her to. Yet we're led to believe that this woman actually looks this way, and that we should also look this way. So unfortunately, a negative body image can lead to distorted perceptions of how we look. And the image on the screen shows you, on the left-hand side, that's how the woman actually looks, and on the right, that's her perception of how she looks in the mirror. Obviously very drastically different from her actual body weight. Unfortunately, this can happen, and it is a big problem among many women here in America. So just something to keep in mind that can be an outcome of negative body image. Important thing to keep in mind is your self-worth does not equal a number. And disordered eating, and what I mean by that is not eating enough, restricting, binge eating, eating too often, eating irregularly, feeling guilty after you eat, those types of things are all included in disordered eating. And this can become a problem when women or men have a negative body image and are striving for that perfection of what we're told growing up is how we're supposed to look. However, eating regularly and in a healthy fashion is crucial to maintaining your health and respecting your body. It's great to feel good about how you look, but it's also more important to be healthy. Self-worth is much more than a number on a scale. And our feelings about our body shouldn't be associated with the number we read on a scale. Now, of course, I would encourage you to strive to be healthy, and that's a wonderful thing. But striving for our culture's ideal can be really dangerous, particularly if your self-worth is related to that number you see on the scale when you weigh yourself in the morning or at night. So if you see that starting to happen and your mood is associated with what number you see on the scale, then this is a big warning sign and something that we'll talk about in more detail a little later. So, warning signs, like I just mentioned. One of them is unable to accept a compliment. So this is if you have a friend where you compliment the way that they look, their outfit, new hairstyle, anything like that, and they're unable, it seems like, to really internalize that and accept it. Instead they say, no, I look actually really awful today, or thanks, but you really don't mean that, things like that. If your mood's closely linked to appearance, so whether that's the number on a scale or just how you feel you look that day, if your mood is closely linked to that, then that is a big warning sign. Constant comparisons, you're constantly comparing yourself to other people. I wish I had her hair. I wish that my skin was clear like hers. I wish my nose was different because I like my friends. Hers is so much better than mine. All of this, another warning sign. If you aspire for perfection, because perfection is a complete illusion, and you think that you'll attain it at some point, but it's not going to happen, and you have to start to appreciate the body that you have and the way that you look. If you call yourself disparaging names, so I'm fat, I'm gross, those types of things. Consistent overstatements, so for example, let's say you gained a couple pounds over Christmas break or Thanksgiving break, but you come back saying, I gained 20 pounds and now I feel like a whale. These are big overstatements, another warning sign. A fear of gaining weight. So you express that fear or you just notice yourself fearing that. If you equate thinness with beauty, success, perfection, happiness, confidence, self-control, any of that, this is another big warning sign because thinness should not be equated with any of these things. One of the things you can start to do for yourself, if you notice that you portray some of those warning signs, or just to become a little healthier with your body image, you need to start to redefine perfection for yourself and your loved ones. Beauty has many meanings. For example, it doesn't always have to be even about your appearance. So things like honesty, humor, integrity, creativity, love, all these types of things, and the list goes on and on and on. All these things are also beautiful. However, also saying that beauty doesn't have to be what you see in the magazines or on TV. It can be exactly who you are in this moment, and it's not just good to do that for yourself, but it's good to do that for all the people around you that you love. To stop the fat talk. So, for example, I'm so fat, I need to lose so many pounds. Even to somebody else, she's too big to wear that. I'll be happy with my body if, for example, I lose 10 pounds. I hate my fill in the gap. I hate my thighs, my hips, my hair, my nose. Even something like you look great, have you lost weight? Because this gives a value to how much someone weighs. So even by saying you look great, have you lost some weight, then that's also perpetuating this negative cycle that we want to get out of. So notice when you are saying these types of things to yourself, and notice when you're saying them to other people or other people are saying them out loud, so that you can try to alter this, because this is one of the things that we really need to stop if we want to try to have a more positive body image and culture around weight. So we want to shift ultimately from this thin ideal that we see in magazines and movies and commercials to the healthy ideal. So what is that? The healthy idea focuses on all things that make you healthy. So for example, exercise, healthy eating, reducing stress, socializing with friends, pursuing your dreams, being very successful in school academically. Try not to be influenced by the unrealistic cultural standards of beauty. So when you see yourself reading a magazine and feeling really bad about how you look, then maybe it's time to just throw that magazine out. Or if you're seeing diet commercials on TV and you're feeling really down, or you notice a friend say, you know what, yeah, I do need to lose some weight. Maybe it's time to turn that commercial off and focus on something much more positive. Go out and take a walk with that friend, or turn on some music, turn on your favorite movie. Anything that so you can stop that vicious cycle of feeling bad about how you look because of how the media perceives beauty. Again, eliminate fact talk, so what we just talked about. We're really trying to work on that and being very self-aware of when you are and when your friends are, so we can try to make that change. And positive affirmations, so saying to yourself or writing down, I feel beautiful, I am beautiful just the way I am. I have students even write stuff on their mirrors or write it on a post-it and put it in their notebook, just so throughout the day you can be reminded of how beautiful you are without having to change anything about yourself, not having to give in to what society says is beautiful. Ultimately, changing this culture starts with you. So I encourage you to take the information you learned from this video and make changes in your own life, so not only your own life can be more healthy, but you can start to change the culture in your world here at Gwynedd Mercy University and in our society in general. Thank you. Today I'm going to be talking to you about motivation and its importance in eliciting change in your life. So, motivation. This is a very important factor anytime you're trying to make a change in your life. So we're going to be focusing on this in great detail. So first, before we get ahead of ourselves, how do people change behavior? There are 6 stages of change. The first being pre-contemplation. So this is even before you're really thinking about making a change. Maybe it's crossed your mind once or twice, but nothing serious has come of it. Contemplation is when you're actually seriously starting to think about making a change for yourself. Preparation is when you're actually using your resources to make that change. So maybe that's seeking out help on campus, just from friends and family. Action is when you put that preparation into play. So that's when you're following through now on the change. Maintenance, and a good way of thinking about this, is when you continue that change for about 6 months is when we would say that you've reached the maintenance stage. And then there's always the risk of relapse. In a pure relapse, you would go all the way back to the first stage of pre-contemplation, but you can also have a lapse, fall off track a little bit and get back on and not have to go through the whole process again. Having to do with motivation, there's this expectancy theory. So the idea is that if you're going to be motivated, the change that you want to make has to be important to you, and you must also be confident that you can be successful. With those 2 things, then change can really start to occur. If you're missing one of those parts, then it can be very challenging, and you can perhaps be very unsuccessful in those efforts. Ambivalence is another roadblock. So this is something that keeps people stuck. It's wanting something and not wanting something at the same time. So for example, I want to start eating better, but that seems like a lot of work, so I don't really feel like following through. Feeling 2 ways about something at once is going to keep you stuck and not serve you best in making changes in your life. So throughout this PowerPoint, I'm going to be presenting a lot of questions to you, and I actually want you to jot down some ideas as we go through this for yourself. So specific planning questions. It's really crucial that you are really clear and honest with yourself anytime you're starting to contemplate and planning to make a change. So while we're going through this, really think for yourself about a specific change you'd like to make and answer these questions for yourself so you can be very clear and honest. First, on a scale from 1 to 10, just ask yourself, how important is it for you to make this change? So how important is it for you to eat healthier, for example? How important is it for you to start exercising? Also, on a scale from 1 to 10, how confident are you that you can make this change? So how confident are you that you can start exercising 3 times a week or eating healthier? So there's 5 aspects of motivation: desire, ability, reason, need, and commitment. And we're going to go through each one of these. I'm going to present a question to you for each one. Desire. So why might you want to make a change? So how much do you desire to make this change in your life? And why might it behoove you to do so? For ability, how could you do it if you wanted to be successful? What resources do you need? What kind of mindset do you need? What kind of changes do you need to make? What kind of people do you need to draw into your life to help you to do this? These are all things you need to consider if you're going to be successful. Reason. What are some good reasons to change? If you don't have reasons to make the change, then the change is not going to occur. So you need to have some really good reasons for yourself. So if it's exercising and eating better, to just have a healthier lifestyle. That's a really good reason to make that type of change. If you're being pressured to do something or you're doing it for someone else, also unlikely that the change is going to occur. So it has to be good reasons for yourself. Need. What benefits would you get from changing? So again, if there's no benefit to you to change, particularly to change a habit you've had that's ingrained in your life for years and years, why would you even go about it? Why even bother? So you have to have benefits associated with changing. And benefits could be 1 or 2 that are really influential, or maybe you have a list of them. Either way, you need to have some sort of need to make the change. Commitment. So what is your next step? So having a really great idea to make a really positive change in your life is great. But unless you're committed to taking the next step, therefore getting resources that you need, preparing yourself to do that, then also change is going to be very difficult for you. So decisional balance, this is something that is associated with a form of therapy called motivational interviewing. And as a counselor, I do use this with my clients, but this is really a wonderful thing to do if you're thinking about making any type of change in your life. So there's 4 questions here. Now to each of these, I want you to answer them in the order that I have them presented. So first, good things about continuing your old behavior. Not so good things about continuing your old behavior. Not so good things about changing your behavior, and good things about changing your behavior. And I know this can sound a little confusing at first, and they probably sound a little redundant, but I promise if you go through these and give yourself a little time, there's going to be a lot of great information you gather from this. So we're going to go through each one. I'm going to give you examples, so hopefully it's not so confusing. So good things about continuing old behavior. Maybe your reasons are something like, it's comfortable. This is what I'm used to. Or there's no risk of failing. If I don't try, then I don't risk at all not succeeding at it. And those are very valid reasons and good reasons to continue something that you've been doing. Not so good things about continuing old behavior. So for example, no chance of improving yourself. And you're not challenging yourself to see what you're capable of. So that would be examples of things that that can be associated with not so good things about changing or continuing old behavior. Not so good things about changing behavior could be there's a period of adjustment, which can definitely be very painful, as change often is associated with. Or perhaps you're worried about reaction from others, particularly if the circle that you travel within or your family is very accustomed to you being a certain way and you make a change. This might be difficult for them to adjust to as well, so perhaps that's something you're concerned about. Also, good things about changing behavior. So this is an opportunity that you can reinvent yourself. Perhaps now you can be healthy or happier or fill in the blank here. So hopefully that's a bit less confusing. And it would be really helpful if you went through each of these questions and answered them for yourself. After you do that, I want you to reflect a bit on this process. So what did you notice? Which questions were easiest or hardest to answer? Does one question have more responses than others? So perhaps one question you have 7 responses to, but the rest have 2. Take that into consideration. Did you find anything surprising in this process? Perhaps you really struggled, or perhaps it was really easy. These are all things I want you to be thinking about and reflecting on. Overall, you really need to be honest and compassionate with yourself. Making change, any type of change, is very, very difficult. It requires hard work and dedication, but if you're motivated, and motivated being it's important to you and you're confident you can succeed, then you can really accomplish anything.